What's happening, running fans? Welcome back to This Week in Athletics. We have got so much to cover from the last 7 days in the athletics news, so we're going to dive straight into it. Breaking news from the world of road racing, Agnes Jebet from Kenya has smashed the women's 10K world record in Valencia. The 22-year-old smashed the previous mark and actually ran the first ever sub-29 performance from a female athlete, running 28:46 to break the tape. Just behind her in second place, also breaking the 29-minute barrier for the first time, was Immaculate Ayango, and we actually covered her incredible improvements since 2022 on the latest episode of the Trackster podcast. It has been nothing short of remarkable. I'm not going to spoil it here. Go and listen to the podcast. It is insane. Other standout performances for Valencia included Jessica Warner-Judd, who was 12th place on the day in a time of 30 minutes and 41 seconds, which is a new personal best. Now, unfortunately, her chip time was 30 minutes and 38 seconds, which would have brought her inside the Olympic qualifying time in Paris for the 10,000 meters. But unfortunately, World Athletics uses gun time. Now, interestingly, we saw an image surface after the event where there were only 2 female athletes on the front line amongst the men, which begs the question, is it time to reevaluate race protocols for fairness and safety? Fellow Brit Megan Keith continued her incredible year with another personal best in 18th place with a time of 31 minutes and 22 seconds. On the men's side, it was no surprise that Ugandan Jacob Kiplimo took the win in an impressive time of 26:48. Further down in the field was Dominic Lubalu, who equalled the European record of Julian Wanders from Switzerland in a time of 27:37. Keep an eye on Dominic. He is an enigma running out of the on-running stable, and I think he's going to run some serious performances this next calendar year. Breaking news coming out of Norway. Unfortunately, Jakob Ingebrigtsen will not be competing at the World Indoor Championships in Glasgow this year. Instead, he said he's going to focus on the outdoor championships, including the Europeans and, of course, the Olympic Games. But now that leaves a big question mark on the 1500 metre indoor world title. Josh Kerr's not going to be there. Jakob Ingebrigtsen's not going to toe the line due to injury. So who is going to take the mantle and who is going to be crowned world champion? Exciting news from down under. The first World Athletics Continental Tour gold meeting is fast approaching. The Maury Plant meet includes the John Landy Mile, and Australian Peter Bowl, who made the final in the 800 metres at the Tokyo Olympics, has announced he will be towing the start line. He will be going up against his country-mate in Stewie McSwain, and we look forward to seeing Great Britain's Jake Whiteman return to action, but do not count out NCAA champion Elliot Kipsang. He's also going to be towing the line, and it's going to be interesting to see how they all start their 2024 season. Please do check out this week's recent episode of the Trackster podcast. It's back up and running for 2024, and I am buzzing to say that Alfie is joining me once again on the show and for the foreseeable until he gets sick of me. Now, it's a 2-part special because basically we spoke for so long, we had to split it up. So head over to our podcast link and enjoy the most recent listen. We cover the latest news, including the race updates, the upcoming run-through Top Flight series where there's £60,000 up for grabs across the 12-race series. And we also cover some hard-hitting topics that at Trackster we are not afraid to talk about. We cover the controversial opinions around unqualified influencer running coaches, which are swarming our Instagram and TikTok feeds of late. And we also cover one of the most serious problems in the sport right now, doping. We shed light on the challenges and the urgent need for change. This is a topic that all running enthusiasts should be a part of. So please do head over to the podcast and get involved. For the next 10 episodes on the podcast, it is going to be sponsored by Pillar Performance, and we have a Trackster discount code that can get you 15% off all of your first-time purchases. So if you use our discount code, which is Trackster, you get 15% off. You can't say fairer than that. And that's all for this week in athletics. I hope you've enjoyed the updates. We'll be back next week to cover the last 7 days of all of the athletics news. I've been Lloyd, your host for today's episode, and I'll see you next week for a chat.